sometimes the smallest gestures create the biggest waves. In a world where people judge by appearance, where assumptions rule decisions, and where kindness seems forgotten, one woman's simple act would shake the foundations of an entire corporation. She had no idea that giving away her cherished doll would expose a CEO's heart, transform a company's culture, and prove that humanity still exists in the most unexpected places. What happens when a minimum-wage hospital worker shows more compassion than million-dollar executives? What happens when a sick child becomes the bridge between two different worlds? And what happens when the most powerful man in the city discovers that the person he's been overlooking is exactly what his company needs? This is not just a story about kindness. This is a story about hidden strength, unexpected connections, and how one moment of genuine care can change everything. Because sometimes, the people we least expect to matter are the ones who matter most. Get ready for a journey that will challenge everything you think you know about success, worth, and the power of human compassion. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead as Maya Johnson pushed her cleaning cart down the sterile corridors of Metropolitan Children's Hospital. At 28, she had been working as a hospital janitor for 3 years, earning just enough to cover rent for her small apartment and help support her elderly mother. Her black skin glistened with sweat from the physical demands of her job, but her warm brown eyes always held a gentle sparkle that seemed to brighten every room she entered. Maya wasn't just any janitor. She approached her work with a level of care that went far beyond her job description. While other cleaning staff focused solely on maintaining hygiene standards, Maya took time to learn the names of the young patients, their favorite colors, and their biggest fears. She had discovered that a friendly smile and a few kind words could sometimes be more healing than any medicine the doctors prescribed. In her cleaning supplies cart, hidden beneath extra towels and disinfectant bottles, Maya kept a special collection that she had been building for months. Small toys, coloring books, stickers, and her most prized possession, a beautiful handmade doll that her grandmother had sewn for her when she was 7 years old. The doll had caramel-colored skin, intricate braided hair, and wore a tiny purple dress that Maya's grandmother had embroidered with golden flowers. Maya had named the doll Hope, and it had been her constant companion through childhood poverty, her parents' divorce, and the challenging years when she dropped out of college to care for her sick mother. Even now, at 28, Hope sat on Maya's nightstand at home, a reminder of her grandmother's love and the dreams she still carried in her heart. Dr. Patricia Williams, the head of pediatric nursing, had noticed Maya's special way with the children. Unlike some staff members who maintained professional distance, Maya seemed to understand that healing involved more than medical procedures. She had seen Maya comfort crying toddlers, help nervous children feel brave before procedures, and somehow managed to make even the sickest kids smile. Maya has a gift, Dr. Williams often told her colleagues. She sees these children as whole human beings, not just patients. I wish we could bottle whatever she has and give it to everyone on our staff. But Maya remained humble about her natural ability to connect with the young patients. She simply believed that every child deserved to feel loved and valued, regardless of their circumstances. Growing up poor had taught her that kindness was free and often the most valuable gift anyone could offer. On this particular Tuesday morning in October, Maya was assigned to clean the private wing of the hospital, an area she rarely worked in because it was reserved for the wealthiest families. The rooms in this section were more like luxury hotel suites than typical hospital rooms, complete with private bathrooms, comfortable furniture for family members, and large windows overlooking the city. As she pushed her cart past room 312, Maya heard the sound of quiet sobbing. She paused, listening carefully, and realized it was a child crying, not the loud wails of physical pain, but the broken-hearted sobs of deep emotional distress. Maya knocked gently on the door, her heart already going out to whoever was inside. "Cleaning service," she called softly. "Is it okay if I come in?" A weak voice responded, "Come in." Maya entered the spacious room to find a small girl, probably around 6 years old, sitting alone in a hospital bed that seemed far too large for her tiny frame. The child had pale skin, dark circles under her eyes, and was wearing a hospital gown decorated with cartoon butterflies. Her blonde hair was thin and patchy, clearly showing the effects of medical treatments. What struck Maya most was how isolated the little girl appeared. Despite being in the most expensive wing of the hospital, despite having every material comfort available, this child looked utterly alone. There were no get-well cards visible, no balloons or flowers, no signs that anyone had been there to comfort her. "Hi, sweetheart," Maya said gently, setting down her cleaning supplies. "I'm Maya. What's your name?" The little girl wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. "I'm Emma," she whispered. Maya's heart melted at the sadness in Emma's voice. "That's a beautiful name, Emma. Are you feeling okay today?" Emma shook her head slowly. "I'm scared. The doctors want to do another surgery tomorrow, and nobody explained what's going to happen. My daddy is always in meetings, and the nurses are too busy to talk to me." Maya sat down in the chair beside Emma's bed, giving the little girl her full attention. "Being scared before surgery is completely normal, honey. Even grown-ups get scared sometimes. Would you like me to stay with you for a little while?" Emma nodded eagerly, clearly desperate for any human connection. The other kids in the regular rooms seem to have fun sometimes. I can hear them laughing in the hallways. But it's always quiet here, and I don't have anyone to play with. Maya understood immediately. This little girl had all the medical advantages that money could buy, but she was missing the most important element of healing: genuine human care and companionship. While the children in the general ward often had siblings, friends, and extended family visiting, Emma seemed to be experiencing her illness in complete isolation. "Tell me about your surgery tomorrow," Maya said. "Sometimes talking about our fears can make them feel smaller." Emma's eyes filled with tears again. "They said something about my heart. I was born with something wrong, and they have to fix it. But what if something goes wrong? What if I don't wake up? I keep thinking about how I'll be all alone in there." Maya felt a deep ache in her chest. This precious child was facing a serious medical procedure while carrying emotional burdens that no 6-year-old should have to bear alone. Without hesitation, Maya reached into her cleaning cart and pulled out the small collection of comfort items she always carried. "I have some things here that might help," Maya said, spreading out a few small toys and coloring books on Emma's bedside table. "Sometimes when we're scared, having something special to focus on can help us feel braver." Emma's eyes lit up for the first time since Maya had entered the room. She reached for a small stuffed rabbit and hugged it close to her chest. "This is so soft. Is it really for me?" "Absolutely," Maya smiled. "But I have something even more special, if you'd like to see it." Maya's hand hesitated for just a moment as she reached for Hope, her grandmother's handmade doll. This was the most precious thing she owned, filled with memories of love, comfort, and dreams for the future. But looking at Emma's lonely little face, Maya knew without any doubt what she needed to do. She carefully lifted Hope from the cart and held her out to Emma. "This is Hope. My grandmother made her for me when I was about your age, and she's been my special friend for over 20 years. She's helped me through some very scary times." Emma's eyes widened as she took the doll, examining the beautiful embroidered dress and carefully braided hair. "She's the most beautiful doll I've ever seen. But I can't take something so special from you." Maya gently touched Emma's hand. "Hope has a very important job. She helps people feel brave when they're scared. I think she's supposed to be with you right now. My grandmother always said that the best things in life are meant to be shared." Emma clutched Hope close to her chest, and for the first time since Maya had entered the room, the little girl smiled. "She feels warm, like she has magic in her." "She does have magic," Maya agreed. "The magic of all the love that's been sown into her. And now she's going to share that love with you." Maya spent the next hour with Emma, coloring pictures, telling stories about Hope's adventures, and explaining in simple, reassuring terms what typically happened during heart surgery. She described how the doctors and nurses would take excellent care of Emma, how the anesthesia would help her sleep peacefully, and how she would wake up feeling much better. "Will you be here when I wake up?" Emma asked as Maya prepared to finish her cleaning duties. "I'll check on you as soon as I can," Maya promised. "And Hope will be right there with you the whole time. She's very good at watching over people." As Maya left Emma's room, she felt a mix of emotions. Giving away Hope had been the right thing to do, but it also represented letting go of her most treasured possession. Yet seeing the peace and comfort on Emma's face had made the sacrifice feel meaningful. Maya continued with her cleaning duties throughout the day, but her thoughts kept returning to the lonely little girl in room 312. During her lunch break, she called her mother to tell her about Emma and the decision to give away hope. "You did exactly what your grandmother would have wanted," her mother said warmly. "She made that doll to bring comfort and love into the world. Sounds like it's still doing its job." That evening, as Maya prepared to leave work, she stopped by Emma's room one more time. The little girl was sleeping peacefully, holding Hope tightly against her chest. The sight filled Maya with a deep sense of satisfaction, knowing that her grandmother's love was now comforting another child who needed it. Dr. Williams approached Maya in the hallway. "I heard about what you did for Emma today. That was incredibly thoughtful of you." Maya shrugged modestly. She needed a friend. Sometimes that's the best medicine we can offer. "You know, Maya, I've been watching how you interact with our patients. You have a natural gift for this work. Have you ever considered pursuing formal training in childcare or nursing?" Maya had dreamed of becoming a nurse for years, but the Finn James Mitchell stood 6 feet tall in his perfectly tailored Italian suit, his salt and pepper hair meticulously styled, and his steel gray eyes focused intently on the smartphone in his hand as he strode through the executive corridors of Mitchell Industries. At 42, he had built one of the largest technology companies in the nation, employing over 50,000 people across dozens of cities. His net worth exceeded $2 billion, and his company's innovations had revolutionized how businesses operated around the world. But success had come at a tremendous personal cost. James worked 16-hour days, traveled constantly for business, and had become so consumed with maintaining his empire that he had gradually lost touch with everything that truly mattered. His marriage to Victoria had ended in divorce 2 years earlier, not because of any dramatic conflict, but simply because they had grown apart while chasing different versions of success. Their 6-year-old daughter Emma lived with Victoria most of the time, visiting James every other weekend when his schedule permitted. Even during those visits, James often found himself distracted by urgent business calls, contract negotiations, and strategic planning sessions that couldn't wait. He genuinely loved Emma with all his heart, but he had convinced himself that providing financially for her future was the most important way to express that love. When Emma had been diagnosed with a serious congenital heart defect 6 months earlier, James had immediately arranged for her to receive care at Metropolitan Children's Hospital, specifically choosing the private wing where she would have access to the most advanced medical technology and the most experienced specialists. He had spared no expense in ensuring that she received the absolute best treatment money could buy. However, James's approach to Emma's illness had been characteristically business-focused. He had hired a team of medical consultants to coordinate her care, arranged for private nursing assistants, and established a comprehensive treatment plan that addressed every clinical aspect of her condition. What he had failed to recognize was that Emma needed emotional support just as much as medical intervention. On the morning of Emma's scheduled surgery, James sat in the back of his black Mercedes, reviewing quarterly financial reports while his driver navigated the busy city traffic toward the hospital. His phone buzzed constantly with messages from his executive team, updates on ongoing negotiations, and requests for his immediate attention on various business matters. "Sir, we're arriving at the hospital," his driver announced. James looked up from his phone, suddenly, feeling the weight of anxiety he had been pushing aside all morning. Despite all his confidence in business situations, he felt helpless when it came to Emma's medical condition. He couldn't negotiate with her illness, couldn't leverage his influence to guarantee her recovery, and couldn't use his wealth to eliminate the risks associated with her surgery. He walked through the hospital's main entrance, automatically checking his phone for new messages as he made his way to the private wing. The contrast between the general hospital areas and the luxury section was immediately apparent. The private wing felt more like an upscale hotel than a medical facility, with marble floors, expensive artwork, and comfortable seating areas for family members. James arrived at Emma's room to find her sleeping peacefully, clutching a doll he had never seen before. The doll appeared to be handmade, with carefully embroidered clothing and intricate braided hair that showed signs of loving wear over many years. It seemed oddly out of place among the expensive toys and gifts that James had arranged to be delivered to Emma's room. "Daddy." Emma's eyes opened as she sensed his presence. She sat up in bed, still holding the doll close to her chest. "You came." "Of course I came, sweetheart," James said, leaning down to kiss her forehead. "How are you feeling this morning?" Emma's face brightened with an enthusiasm James hadn't seen in months. "I'm feeling much better, Daddy. Look at my new friend. Her name is Hope, and she's going to help me be brave during my surgery." James examined the doll more carefully, noting the quality of the craftsmanship and the obvious care that had been put into its creation. "She's very beautiful, Emma. Where did she come from?" Emma's expression became animated as she began telling her father about Maya's visit the previous day. "There's a lady named Maya who works here, and she's the kindest person I've ever met, Daddy. She stayed with me when I was scared and crying, and she gave me hope to help me feel brave. Maya said her grandmother made this doll just for her, and now Hope is here to take care of me." James felt a strange mixture of emotions as he listened to Emma's story. Part of him was grateful that someone had provided comfort to his daughter during a difficult time. But another part of him felt defensive, almost territorial, about a stranger becoming so important to Emma. He had hired the best medical professionals in the city to care for his daughter, so why had it taken a janitor to address her emotional needs? "Tell me more about this, Maya," James said, sitting down in the chair beside Emma's bed. Emma's eyes sparkled as she described Maya's kindness, her gentle manner, and the way she had taken time to explain the surgery in terms that made Emma feel less afraid. "She made me feel like everything was going to be okay, Daddy. She said Hope has magic in her because of all the love that's sown inside. I think Maya has that same kind of magic." James found himself both impressed and troubled by Emma's description. It was clear that this hospital employee had made a profound impact on his daughter in just one brief interaction. But it also highlighted how much Emma had been lacking in terms of emotional support and human connection during her hospitalization. Dr. Sarah Chun, Emma's lead cardiologist, entered the room carrying Emma's medical chart. "Good morning, Mr. Mitchell. We're all prepared for Emma's surgery this afternoon. The procedure should take approximately 3 hours, and our success rate for this type of repair is over 95%. James nodded, appreciating Dr. Chen's confidence and expertise. "What can we expect in terms of recovery time?" "Emma should be able to go home within a week if everything goes smoothly. She'll need to take it easy for several weeks after that. But children typically recover much faster than adults from this type of surgery." Emma held up her doll proudly. "Dr. Chun, this is Hope. She's going to help me be brave during the surgery. Maya gave her to me, and she said Hope helps people feel better when they're scared." Dr. Chun smiled warmly at Emma. "Hope is beautiful, Emma, and Maya sounds like a very special person. You're lucky to have someone like her caring about you." After Dr. Chun left, James spent time with Emma, reading her favorite stories and trying to keep her mind off the upcoming surgery. But he found his thoughts repeatedly returning to the mystery of Maya, the woman who had apparently succeeded in comforting his daughter when he had failed to do so himself. As the time for surgery approached, Emma became increasingly anxious despite her efforts to be brave. She clutched Hope tightly and kept asking if Maya would be there when she woke up. "I don't know, sweetheart," James admitted. "But I'll be here, and so will Hope." Emma looked at her father with earnest 6-year-old wisdom. "Daddy, I think you should meet Maya. She's really special, and I think you'd like her. She makes people feel better just by being herself." James promised Emma he would try to find Maya and thank her for her kindness. As the surgical team arrived to take Emma to the operating room, she hugged Hope close and whispered, "Take care of me, Hope. Maya said you would." Watching his daughter being wheeled away for surgery was one of the most difficult moments of James's life. Despite all his wealth and success, he felt completely powerless to protect her from the risks and uncertainties ahead. He found himself thinking about the doll she clutched so tightly, and the woman who had selflessly given away what was clearly a treasured possession to comfort a child she barely knew. During the long hours of Emma's surgery, James paced the private waiting area, unable to focus on work for the first time in years. His usual coping mechanism of burying himself in business activities felt meaningless when his daughter's life hung in the balance. Instead, he found himself reflecting on Emma's words about Maya and the profound impact this stranger had made on his daughter's emotional well-being. James began to realize how much he had been missing during Emma's hospitalization. While he had focused on ensuring she received the best medical care available, he had failed to address her deeper needs for comfort, reassurance, and human connection. A woman he had never met, someone whose job was considered unskilled labor by most standards, had somehow understood and fulfilled those needs in a way that all his money and influence could not. When Dr. Chen finally emerged from the operating room with news that Emma's surgery had been completely successful, James felt a relief so profound it nearly brought him to his knees. His daughter would recover fully, live a normal life, and never have to face this particular medical challenge again. She did beautifully, Dr. Chen reported. Emma was incredibly brave throughout the entire procedure. She kept talking about Hope and Maya, saying they were helping her stay strong. It's remarkable how much that doll seemed to comfort her. As Emma slowly woke up in the recovery room, still groggy from anesthesia, the first thing she did was reach for Hope. "Is she okay?" Emma whispered weakly. "Hope is fine, sweetheart," James assured her. "She stayed right here with you the whole time, just like Maya promised." Emma smiled peacefully and drifted back to sleep, secure in the knowledge that she was safe and loved. James sat beside her bed, watching her breathe steadily, and made a decision that would change everything. He needed to find Maya, not just to thank her, but to understand how someone in her position had been able to provide something so valuable that he, with all his resources, had been unable to offer. James called his personal assistant and asked her to arrange a meeting with the hospital's Human Resources Department. He wanted to learn everything he could about Maya Johnson, her background, her work history, and what had motivated her to show such extraordinary kindness to his daughter. What James discovered in Maya's employment file both impressed and troubled him. She had been working at the hospital for 3 years, consistently receiving excellent performance reviews for her work ethic, reliability, and positive attitude. Her supervisor notes repeatedly mentioned her special way with the young patients and her ability to go above and beyond her basic job responsibilities. But James also learned that Maya was earning barely above minimum wage. Maya arrived at work the next morning with Emma's surgery weighing heavily on her mind. She had barely slept, thinking about the little girl and hoping that everything had gone well. During her break, she planned to stop by Emma's room to check on her recovery, even though visiting patients wasn't technically part of her job responsibilities. As Maya pushed her cleaning cart through the hospital corridors, she noticed an unusual amount of activity in the administrative wing. Several people in expensive suits were walking through the halls with clipboards and tablets, accompanied by hospital executives who looked unusually tense. Maya had worked at Metropolitan Children's Hospital long enough to recognize the signs of an important inspection or visit from major donors. Dr. Williams intercepted Maya near the nurse's station, her expression a mixture of excitement and concern. "Maya, I need to speak with you privately. There's been an interesting development regarding Emma, the little girl you helped yesterday." Maya's heart immediately jumped to the worst conclusion. "Is she okay? Did something happen during the surgery?" No, Emma is fine," Dr. Williams quickly reassured her. "The surgery was completely successful, and she's recovering beautifully. But, Maya, do you know who Emma's father is?" Maya shook her head, confused by the question. She mentioned her daddy works a lot and has important meetings, but she didn't tell me much about him. "What?" Dr. Williams took a deep breath. "Emma's father is James Mitchell, the CEO of Mitchell Industries. He's one of the wealthiest and most influential people in the city. His company employs tens of thousands of people, and he's known for being extremely demanding and very particular about business relationships." Maya felt a wave of shock wash over her. She had given her most precious possession to the daughter of a billionaire, someone who probably could have bought 1,000 dolls just like Hope without thinking twice about the expense. But then, Maya remembered Emma's tears, her loneliness, and her fear about the surgery, and realized that wealth hadn't protected that little girl from needing exactly what Hope could provide. "Mr. Mitchell has been asking questions about you," Dr. Williams continued. "He wants to meet you personally to thank you for what you did for Emma. Maya, this could be an incredible opportunity for you. James Mitchell has the power to change your entire life if he chooses to." Maya felt uncomfortable with the implications of Dr. Williams's words. I didn't help Emma because I wanted something in return. I helped her because she needed a friend. I don't want Mr. Mitchell to feel like he owes me anything." Dr. Williams smiled, recognizing the genuine humility that made Maya so special. "That's exactly why you're perfect for this situation, Maya. You're not trying to take advantage of the opportunity. But James Mitchell is a man who values excellence and integrity, and he's clearly impressed by what you did for his daughter." Before Maya could respond, her supervisor, Mrs. Rodriguez, approached them with an urgent expression. "Maya, you need to come with me immediately. There are some people from the administrative office who want to speak with you in the conference room." Maya felt a surge of anxiety. In her 3 years at the hospital, she had never been called to the administrative conference room for any reason. She wondered if she had somehow violated hospital policies by giving gifts to a patient, or if her interaction with Emma had been misinterpreted in some way. "Am I in trouble?" Maya asked quietly. "I don't think so," Mrs. Rodriguez replied. "But this is definitely unusual. Just be honest about whatever they ask you. And remember that you've always been one of our best employees." Maya followed Mrs. Rodriguez through corridors she rarely had reason to visit, past offices filled with executives and administrators who typically had no interaction with the hospital's cleaning staff. The conference room was an impressive space with a large mahogany table, leather chairs, and windows overlooking the city skyline. 3 people were waiting for her: Dr. Peterson, the hospital's chief administrator, Ms. Franklin, the director of human resources, and a tall, distinguished man in an expensive suit who Maya immediately recognized as the person she had seen in photographs accompanying newspaper articles about successful local businesses. James Mitchell stood up as Maya entered the room, extending his hand in greeting. "Ms. Johnson, I'm James Mitchell, Emma's father. I want to thank you for what you did for my daughter yesterday." Maya shook his hand, feeling overwhelmed by the formality of the situation. "Mr. Mitchell, I'm just glad that Emma is feeling better. How is she doing after her surgery?" James's entire demeanor softened as he spoke about his daughter. "She's doing wonderfully, thanks in large part to you. Emma hasn't stopped talking about you and the doll you gave her. She calls it Hope, and she's convinced that it helped her get through the surgery successfully." Maya smiled, feeling genuine happiness at the news of Emma's recovery. "Hope has been helping people feel better for many years. I'm so glad she could do the same for Emma." James studied Maya carefully, trying to understand what motivated someone to give away something so precious to a stranger. "Emma told me that the doll was handmade by your grandmother and had been with you for over 20 years. That must have been incredibly difficult to part with." Maya considered her words carefully. It was difficult, but it was also the right thing to do. Hope was made to bring comfort to people who need it. Keeping her on my nightstand wasn't helping anyone. Emma needed her more than I did. Dr. Peterson leaned forward with interest. "Ms. Johnson, we've been reviewing your employment records, and we're quite impressed with your performance evaluations. Your supervisors consistently note your exceptional interaction with patients and your willingness to go beyond your basic job duties." Maya felt confused about where this conversation was leading. "I just try to do my job well and help people when I can." Ms. Franklin consulted her tablet before speaking. "Maya, we understand that you've been interested in pursuing nursing education but haven't been able to afford the training program. Is that correct?" Maya nodded, wondering how they had learned about her educational aspirations. "Yes, I've been saving money for nursing school, but it's been challenging to balance tuition costs with my family responsibilities." James Mitchell had been listening intently to this exchange, and Maya could see him processing the information with the kind of analytical focus that had made him successful in business. "Maya, I want to be direct with you. What you did for Emma goes far beyond normal employee responsibilities. You provided something that all my money and influence couldn't buy: genuine compassion and emotional support when she needed it most." Maya felt increasingly uncomfortable with the praise. "Mr. Mitchell, Emma is a wonderful little girl who is going through a scary experience. Anyone would have done the same thing." "No, Maya, they wouldn't have," James replied firmly. "I've seen how most people interact with my daughter. They're polite and professional, but they maintain distance. You saw her as a human being who needed comfort, not just as a patient or the daughter of a wealthy man." Miss Franklin looked up from her notes. "Maya, Mr. Mitchell has made a proposal that we think you should consider carefully. He's offering to fund your complete nursing education, including tuition, books, and living expenses, so that you can pursue your dream of becoming a registered nurse. Maya felt like the room was spinning. Such an opportunity seemed impossible, too good to be true. I don't understand. Why would you do that for me? James leaned back in his chair, his expression becoming more personal and less businesslike. Maya, yesterday I realized something important about myself as a father and as a person. I had provided Emma with the best medical care money could buy, but I had failed to address her emotional needs. You succeeded where I failed, not because you had more resources, but because you cared more deeply. Maya shook her head, feeling overwhelmed. Mr. Mitchell, I appreciate your offer more than I can express, but I can't accept such a generous gift. It wouldn't feel right to benefit personally from helping Emma. James had anticipated this response, recognizing in Maya the same integrity that had motivated her to help Emma in the first place. Maya, this isn't charity, and it's not payment for what you did for Emma. This is an investment in someone who has demonstrated the exact qualities that our healthcare system needs: compassion, selflessness, and genuine care for others. Dr. Peterson added his support to James's proposal. Maya, in my 30 years in hospital administration, I've rarely seen someone with your natural ability to connect with patients. We would love to see you develop those gifts through formal nursing training. Maya thought about her elderly mother, who had been encouraging her to pursue her nursing dreams for years. She thought about all the patients she could help if she had proper medical training to go along with her natural compassion. But she also worried about accepting such an enormous gift from someone she barely knew. Can I have some time to think about this? Maya asked. Of course, James replied. But, Maya, I want you to understand something important. This offer comes with no strings attached. Whether you accept it or not, I'll always be grateful for what you did for Emma. You gave her exactly what she needed when I couldn't, and that means everything to a father. As Maya prepared to leave the conference room, James handed her a card with his personal contact information. Maya, regardless of your decision about nursing school, I'd like you to visit Emma when she's feeling up to it. She's been asking about you constantly, and I think seeing you would help her recovery. Maya accepted the card, feeling honored that Emma wanted to see her again. I'd love to visit her, Mr. Mitchell. Emma is very special, and I'm so glad she's doing well. After Maya left, James remained in the conference room with the hospital administrators, his mind racing with thoughts about the conversation that had just taken place. He had expected to meet someone grateful for an opportunity to advance professionally. Instead, he had encountered a woman whose primary concern was whether accepting help would somehow compromise her integrity. She's remarkable, Dr. Peterson observed. Most people in her situation would have accepted your offer immediately. The fact that she wants to consider it carefully tells you everything you need to know about her character. James nodded, already certain that Maya would make an excellent nurse regardless of whether she accepted his offer to fund her education. But, more than that, meeting Maya had forced him to examine his own values and priorities in ways he hadn't expected. That evening, Maya returned home to her small apartment and told her mother Maya woke up before dawn, her mind already churning with thoughts about the decision she needed to make. She sat in her small kitchen, drinking coffee and watching the sunrise through her apartment window, thinking about how dramatically her life could change based on the choice she made today. The opportunity James Mitchell had offered her was beyond anything she had ever imagined possible, but accepting it felt like stepping into a completely different world. After her morning prayers, Maya called her elderly mother to discuss her concerns one more time. Mama, I keep thinking about what Grandmama used to say about accepting help from others. She always taught me to be independent and work hard for everything I achieved. Her mother's voice was warm but firm. Baby, your grandmother also taught you to recognize blessings when they come your way. She would have been the first person to tell you that this opportunity is meant to help you serve others better, not just to make your life easier. Maya knew her mother was right, but she still felt anxious about the enormous responsibility that would come with accepting such generosity. What if I don't succeed? What if I'm not as good at nursing as everyone thinks I could be? Mr. Mitchell would be investing a lot of money in someone who might not live up to expectations. Maya Johnson, You listened to me," her mother said with the authority that only mothers possess. "You have been caring for people your whole life. You cared for me when I was sick. You care for those children at the hospital. And you gave away your most precious possession to comfort a scared little girl." Nursing isn't just about medical knowledge. It's about having a heart that wants to heal people. You already have the most important part. After ending the call, Maya prepared for work with a sense of resolution forming in her mind. She had spent the night reading about Mitchell Industries and learning more about James Mitchell's business philosophy and philanthropic activities. What she discovered had surprised her. Despite his wealth and success, Mitchell had a reputation for supporting educational initiatives and healthcare programs that benefited working-class families. Several news articles described scholarship programs he had established for employees' children, healthcare benefits he had extended to part-time workers, and community medical clinics he had funded in underserved neighborhoods. This wasn't a man who threw money around carelessly or made empty gestures for publicity purposes. His offer to fund her education appeared to be consistent with a genuine commitment to helping people improve their circumstances. When Maya arrived at the hospital, she immediately went to check on Emma. The little girl was sitting up in bed, looking much healthier and more energetic than she had before the surgery. Hope was nestled beside her, and Emma was carefully braiding the doll's hair with intense concentration. "Maya," Emma's face lit up with pure joy when she saw her friend. "Look, I'm learning how to braid Hope's hair, just like yours. The nurse showed me how to do it." Maya sat down beside Emma's bed, feeling overwhelmed with happiness to see the child looking so much better. "You're doing a beautiful job, sweetheart. Hope looks lovely with her new hairstyle." Emma set the doll aside and took Maya's hand. "Maya, my daddy told me about your conversation yesterday. He said he wants to help you become a nurse so you can take care of lots of children like me." Maya was surprised that James had shared this information with Emma. "What do you think about that idea, Emma?" Emma's expression became very serious for a 6-year-old. "I think you would be the best nurse in the whole world, Maya. You already know how to make people feel better, and learning the medical stuff would just make you even more helpful. Plus, if you become a nurse, maybe you could work here all the time and help lots of kids feel brave." The wisdom and sincerity in Emma's words touched Maya deeply. Here was a child who understood, perhaps better than Maya herself, the potential impact of the opportunity being offered. "Emma, what would you think if I told you I was scared to accept your daddy's help? Sometimes big opportunities can feel overwhelming." Emma considered this question with the same seriousness she had shown when discussing her surgery. "Maya, when I was scared about my surgery, you told me that being scared was okay, but I shouldn't let being scared stop me from getting better. Maybe this is the same thing. Maybe you're scared, but you shouldn't let being scared stop you from helping more people." Maya realized that Emma had just provided her with the clearest perspective on the situation. Fear of failure or unworthiness shouldn't prevent her from accepting an opportunity to develop her ability to help others. "Emma, you are a very wise little girl. Thank you for helping me understand what I should do." Later that morning, Maya asked Mrs. Rodriguez if she could take her lunch break early to make an important phone call. She found a quiet corner in the hospital cafeteria and dialed the number on James Mitchell's business card, her heart racing as she waited for him to answer. "Maya, I'm glad you called," James said immediately. "How are you feeling about everything we discussed yesterday?" Maya took a deep breath, knowing that her next words would change the trajectory of her entire life. "Mr. Mitchell, I've thought very carefully about your offer, and I would like to accept it. But I want to be clear about something important. I'm not accepting this as payment for helping Emma. I'm accepting it as an opportunity to become better equipped to help children like Emma in the future." James felt a profound sense of satisfaction at Maya's response. "Maya, that's exactly why I made the offer. I could see that you have the natural instincts and compassion to be an extraordinary nurse. Formal education will simply give you the tools to maximize your potential." Maya felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness as the reality of the situation began to sink in. What happens next? I don't really understand how this process works. James had already begun making arrangements the previous evening, anticipating that Maya would accept his offer. "I've spoken with the nursing program director at Metropolitan University. They have an accelerated program for working adults that would allow you to complete your RN degree in 2 years while continuing to work part-time. The program starts in January, which gives you a few months to prepare. Maya felt overwhelmed by how quickly things were moving, but also grateful for James's efficiency in handling the details. Mr. Mitchell, I don't know how I'll ever repay you for this opportunity. Maya, the best way to repay this investment is to become the excellent nurse I know you can be, and to continue showing the same compassion for your patients that you showed for Emma. That's all the repayment I need. After ending the call, Maya sat in the cafeteria for several minutes, trying to process the magnitude of what had just occurred. In less than 48 hours, her life had been completely transformed by a simple act of kindness. She thought about her grandmother, who had sown hope with such love and care, never knowing that the doll would eventually create a connection that would change Maya's entire future. Maya returned to work with a sense of purpose and energy she had never experienced before. As she went about her cleaning duties, she found herself looking at the hospital environment differently, imagining herself working as a registered nurse, caring for patients with both medical expertise and the compassionate approach that came naturally to her. Dr. Williams found Maya during her afternoon break. Maya, I heard the wonderful news about your nursing school opportunity. The entire pediatric staff is excited for you, and we're already looking forward to welcoming you back as a colleague in a few years. Maya felt touched by the support she was receiving from the medical staff. Dr. Williams, this feels like a dream. Sometimes I have to remind myself that it's really happening. Maya, you've earned this opportunity through years of demonstrating exceptional character and compassion. James Mitchell is a smart businessman. He recognizes talent and potential when he sees it. You're going to make an outstanding nurse. That evening, Maya visited Emma one more time before ending her shift. The little girl was feeling well enough to walk around her room, and she immediately ran to give Maya a big hug. Maya, Daddy told me you said yes to nursing school. I'm so happy for you, Emma exclaimed. Maya hugged Emma tightly, feeling grateful beyond words for the chain of events that had brought them together. Emma, you and Hope helped me realize that accepting help isn't something to be ashamed of. It's an opportunity to become better at helping others. Emma picked up Hope and handed the doll to Maya. I think Hope should go with you to nursing school. She helped me be brave for my surgery, and now she can help you be brave while you're learning to be a nurse. Maya felt tears forming in her eyes. Emma, sweetheart, Hope belongs with you now. My grandmother made her to bring comfort to people who need it, and you needed her at exactly the right time. She's found her new home. Emma considered this for a moment, then smiled. Okay, but when you become a nurse, you have to promise to visit me sometime so Hope and I can see how you're doing. I promise, Maya said, meaning it with all her heart. James Mitchell appeared in the doorway, having overheard the end of their conversation. Maya, I want to thank you again for everything you've done for Emma. Seeing her happy and healthy is the greatest gift anyone could give me. Maya stood up to face James, feeling more confident than she had during their F2 years later. Maya Johnson stood in her crisp, white nursing uniform, adjusting her new badge that read, Maya Johnson, RN, Pediatric Department. The transformation from hospital janitor to registered nurse had been challenging, demanding, and more rewarding than she had ever imagined possible. Today marked her first official day as a member of the medical staff at Metropolitan Children's Hospital, the same institution where her journey had begun with a simple act of kindness. The accelerated nursing program had tested Maya's dedication and intelligence in ways she hadn't expected. Balancing coursework with her part-time job and caring for her mother had required sacrifice and determination that pushed her to her limits. But throughout the difficult months of studying, clinical rotations, and examinations, Maya had been sustained by the memory of Emma's trust and James Mitchell's belief in her potential. Dr. Williams, now Maya's supervisor, had watched the transformation with pride and amazement. Maya, I've been in pediatric medicine for 20 years, and I've never seen anyone adapt to nursing responsibilities as naturally as you have. Your clinical skills are excellent, but more importantly, you've maintained that special ability to connect with children and their families. Maya's approach to nursing combined medical expertise with the compassionate instincts that had always been her strength. She remembered every patient's name, their fears, their favorite colors, and their family situations. Parents frequently requested Maya specifically because their children felt more comfortable and cooperative when she was involved in their care. Emma Mitchell, now 8 years old and completely healthy, had become one of Maya's most enthusiastic supporters throughout nursing school. James had brought Emma to visit Maya during several significant milestones: her graduation ceremony, her nursing license exam results, and her first day orientation. The friendship between Maya and Emma had evolved into something resembling an extended family relationship, with Emma proudly introducing Maya to her friends as my special nurse friend. Hope, the handmade doll, still lived on Emma's nightstand at home, but had become a symbol of much more than childhood comfort. Emma had started a small charity project at her elementary school, collecting toys and comfort items for children in the hospital. She called it Hope's Friends, and had already donated over 200 items to the pediatric ward. James Mitchell had continued to take a personal interest in Maya's progress, not in an intrusive way, but as someone genuinely invested in her success. He had attended her nursing graduation ceremony with Emma, and had been present when Maya received her first job offer from Metropolitan Children's Hospital. His initial investment in Maya's education had grown into a deep respect for her character and abilities. On Maya's first day as an RN, James had arranged for a small celebration in the hospital conference room where they had first met 2 years earlier. The same administrators who had witnessed Maya's initial interview were present to congratulate her on achieving her goal. "Maya," James said as he presented her with a framed photograph of Emma holding Hope. This picture was taken the day after Emma's surgery, when she was telling everyone about the kind lady who had given her a magical doll. "I want you to have it as a reminder of how profoundly you can impact lives, even when you don't realize you're doing it." Maya accepted the photograph with tears in her eyes, remembering the scared little girl she had met in room 312, and how much both of their lives had changed since that day. "Mr. Mitchell, I will never be able to thank you enough for believing in me and giving me this opportunity." James shook his head. "Maya, I didn't give you anything except access to education. Everything you've accomplished, your grades, your clinical skills, your natural ability to comfort patients, that all came from within you. I simply helped remove some financial obstacles so your talents could develop." Dr. Peterson, the chief administrator, stepped forward to address the group. "Maya, your story has become somewhat legendary around here. We've had inquiries from other hospitals asking about our special janitor who became a nurse. You've shown that talent and compassion can be found in any position, and that investing in people's potential creates benefits that extend far beyond individual success." Maya felt overwhelmed by the attention and praise, but she was most excited about the opportunity to begin working directly with pediatric patients as a qualified medical professional. "I'm just grateful for the chance to use everything I've learned to help children and their families during difficult times." Later that afternoon, Maya was assigned to care for her first patients as an RN. One of them was a 5-year-old girl named Sophie who was scheduled for surgery the following day to repair a broken arm. Sophie was crying inconsolably, terrified of the hospital environment and the upcoming procedure. Maya knelt down beside Sophie's bed, immediately recognizing the same fear and loneliness she had seen in Emma 2 years earlier. "Hi, Sophie. I'm Nurse Maya. I heard you're feeling scared about your surgery tomorrow." Sophie nodded through her tears, clutching a worn stuffed elephant that was clearly her comfort object. "I don't want them to fix my arm. It's going to hurt, and I don't want to be here." Maya sat down in the chair beside Sophie's bed, giving the little girl her complete attention. "Sophie, it's completely okay to feel scared. Even grown-ups get scared sometimes when they're in the hospital. But I want to tell you about a little girl I knew who was brave during her surgery, and maybe her story will help you feel better." Maya began telling Sophie about Emma and Hope, explaining how a special doll had helped Emma feel brave during her heart surgery. She described how the doll had been made with love and care, and how sharing that love had helped Emma get through a scary time. As Maya spoke, Sophie's crying gradually stopped, and she became absorbed in the story. "What happened to the doll after the little girl got better?" "Hope is still with Emma," Maya explained. "And Emma has started helping other children by collecting toys and comfort items for kids in the hospital." She understands that sometimes the best medicine is knowing that someone cares about you. Sophie considered this story carefully. Do you think I could be brave like Emma? Maya smiled warmly. Sophie, I think you're already braver than you realize. Coming to the hospital when you're hurt, letting the doctors examine your arm, and talking to me even though you're scared. Those are all very brave things to do. Over the next hour, Maya helped Sophie feel more comfortable by explaining the surgery process in simple terms, introducing her to some of the medical equipment she would encounter, and reassuring her that many people would be taking excellent care of her throughout the procedure. When Sophie's parents returned from handling admission paperwork, they found their daughter smiling and playing a simple game with Maya. Sophie looks so much better, her mother said with relief. She's been terrified ever since we told her about the surgery. Maya stood up to speak with Sophie's parents privately. Sophie is a wonderful little girl, and her fears about surgery are completely normal. I've given her some information about what to expect tomorrow, and I think she's feeling more confident now. I'll be here to check on her throughout her stay. Sophie's father shook Maya's hand gratefully. Thank you so much for taking the time to comfort her. You have a real gift with children. As Maya completed her first day as a registered nurse, she reflected on how different her perspective had become since she started nursing school. She now understood the medical complexities behind the procedures she had observed as a janitor. But, more importantly, she had learned to integrate that knowledge with the compassionate instincts that had always guided her interactions with patients. Dr. Williams found Maya at the nurse's station as her shift was ending. Maya, I wanted to check in with you after your first day. How are you feeling about the transition from student to practicing nurse? Maya looked around the pediatric ward, seeing it through completely different eyes than she had 2 years earlier. Dr. Williams, it feels like everything I've experienced in my life has been preparing me for this work. Every patient reminds me of why I wanted to become a nurse in the first place. Maya, I've been thinking about your unique background and your special connection with our patients. Would you be interested in developing a program to help comfort children who are facing surgery or extended hospital stays? We've been looking for someone to coordinate those kinds of initiatives. Maya felt her heart leap with excitement. That sounds like exactly what I'd love to do. I have so many ideas about how we could help children feel less scared and more supported during their treatment. As Maya drove home that evening, she thought about the incredible journey that had brought her to this moment. A frightened little girl, a handmade doll, and a simple act of kindness had created a chain of events that transformed not only her own life, but potentially the lives of countless future patients who would benefit from her care. She stopped by her mother's apartment to share the details of her first day as an RN. Her mother listened with pride and joy as Maya described her new responsibilities and the special program she might be developing. Baby, your grandmother would be so proud of what you've accomplished, her mother said. That little doll she made with so much love has touched more lives than she ever could have imagined. Maya nodded, understanding that hope had been the catalyst for something much larger than anyone had anticipated. Mama, I think Grandmama somehow knew that hope would find her way to exactly the right people at exactly the right time. The next morning, Maya returned to work with renewed enthusiasm and purpose. Sophie's surgery had gone perfectly, and the little girl was recovering with a confidence and bravery that amazed her parents and the medical staff. Emma Mitchell, now a regular volunteer at the hospital through her Hope's Friends program, stopped by to visit Maya during her lunch break. Maya, I heard you helped another scared little girl feel brave yesterday. Sophie's mom called my dad's office to say how wonderful you were. Maya hugged Emma tightly, marveling at how mature and compassionate the 8-year-old had become. Emma, you and Hope taught me that the most important part of helping people isn't having all the answers. It's caring enough to try. Emma smiled and pulled Hope out of her backpack. I brought Hope to visit today. She wanted to see you in your nurse uniform. Maya took the doll gently, remembering the day she had placed Hope in Emma's arms and how uncertain the future had seemed. Now, holding Hope again while wearing her RN badge, Maya felt a profound sense of completion and new beginning simultaneously. Thank you, Hope, Maya whispered to the doll. Thank you for teaching me that giving away the things we love most sometimes leads to receiving more than we ever imagined possible. As Maya returned Hope to Emma and watched the little girl skip down the hospital corridor to distribute comfort items to other young patients. She realized that the most beautiful aspect of their story wasn't the dramatic transformation of her circumstances. It was the simple truth that kindness, once shared, continues to multiply and spread in ways that no one can predict or control. Maya's journey from janitor to nurse was complete, but her mission of bringing comfort, compassion, and healing to children and families was just beginning. Every patient she would care for, every frightened child she would comfort, and every family she would support would be touched by the same love and generosity that had first been sewn into a simple doll by a grandmother's loving hands. The story of Maya, Emma, and Hope had become a reminder to everyone at Metropolitan Children's Hospital that the most powerful medicine often comes not from advanced technology or expensive treatments, but from the simple human capacity to care for one another with genuine love and compassion. First meeting. Mr. Mitchell, Emma is an amazing little girl. You should be very proud of her wisdom and kindness. James smiled, recognizing the genuine affection in Maya's voice when she spoke about his daughter. I am proud of her, and I'm also proud to be able to support your nursing education. I have a feeling that the healthcare profession is about to gain someone truly special. As Maya prepared to leave, Emma called out one more time. Maya, when you become a nurse, will you help other kids feel brave like you helped me? Maya turned back to Emma with a smile that reflected all the hope and determination she was feeling. Emma, that's exactly what I plan to do. I'm going to help as many children as I can feel brave and loved and cared for. Walking out of the hospital that evening, Maya felt like she was walking into a completely new life. The opportunity James Mitchell had provided would allow her to transform her natural compassion into professional expertise, creating the potential to impact countless lives in positive ways. She thought about Hope, now permanently nestled in Emma's arms, continuing to fulfill the purpose for which she had been created. Maya realized that she, too, was about to fulfill a purpose that had been building within her for years. Everything that had happened, her grandmother's love, her own struggles, her work at the hospital, and her connection with Emma, had been preparing her for this moment. As she drove home to share the news with her mother, Maya said a prayer of gratitude for the unexpected ways that life could change, and for the reminder that sometimes the most meaningful opportunities come disguised as simple acts of kindness. Out the extraordinary events of the day, her mother listened with amazement as Maya described meeting James Mitchell and his offer to pay for nursing school. Baby, this sounds like an answer to prayers, her mother said. You've been working so hard to save money for school, and now someone wants to help you achieve your dreams. What's holding you back? Maya struggled to articulate her concerns. Mama, it feels like too much. I gave Emma that doll because it was the right thing to do, not because I wanted something in return. Taking such a big gift from her father makes me uncomfortable. Her mother took Maya's hands in hers. Sweetheart, sometimes blessings come in unexpected ways. This man isn't offering to help you because he pities you or because he wants to buy your friendship. He's offering to help because he recognizes your worth and wants to invest in your potential. Maya spent the evening thinking about Emma, about Hope, and about the unexpected turn her life had taken. She had always believed that kindness was its own reward, but now she was being offered an opportunity that could transform not only her own future, but also her ability to help countless other patients who would benefit from her compassion and care. As she prepared for bed, Maya realized that accepting James Mitchell's offer might not be about taking something unearned, but about accepting the responsibility to develop her gifts and use them to help others. Tomorrow, she would give him her answer, had no health insurance benefits, and was supporting an elderly mother while trying to save money for nursing school. The woman who had provided priceless emotional support to his daughter was struggling financially despite working full-time at a demanding job. This revelation forced James to confront uncomfortable truths about the society he lived in and the business world he dominated. The people who performed the most essential and compassionate work were often the least rewarded, while individuals like himself accumulated wealth far beyond what they could ever need or use. Maya's generosity with Emma highlighted the stark inequality between those who had everything and those who gave everything despite having very little. James spent the evening at Emma's bedside, holding her hand while she slept peacefully with Hope nestled in her arms. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about quarterly profits, market share, or strategic expansion plans. Instead, he was thinking about a woman named Maya who had changed his daughter's life with a simple act of selfless kindness. He began to formulate a plan that would allow him to properly thank Maya for what she had done. But more than that, he wanted to find a way to recognize and reward the kind of compassion and humanity that she represented. James realized that meeting Maya might teach him something important about what really mattered in life and what it truly meant to make a positive difference in the world. Sile reality of supporting her mother while paying for education seemed impossible. I'd love to, but right now I need to focus on taking care of my family. Dr. Williams nodded understandingly. Well, if circumstances ever change, I think you'd make an excellent addition to our medical team. You understand something that can't be taught in textbooks, how to truly care for people. As Maya drove home to her small apartment that night, she thought about Emma's surgery the next day. She said a prayer for the little girl's safety and healing, hoping that Hope would provide the comfort and courage Emma needed to get through the procedure. Maya had no way of knowing that her simple act of kindness had been observed by someone who would soon turn her entire world upside down. She had no idea that Emma's father was one of the most powerful and influential men in the city, or that her compassionate gesture would soon be brought to his attention in a way that would change both of their lives forever. All Maya knew was that she had done what felt right in her heart, sharing love and comfort with a scared little girl who needed it. It was exactly the kind of person her grandmother had raised her to be, and exactly the kind of nurse she hoped to become someday. She fell asleep that night with a peaceful heart, knowing that Hope was exactly where she belonged.